From getting addicted to alcohol to posing with a gold-plated gun alongside notorious gang members, the once promising career of the man who was once nicknamed the Emperor Adriano gradually received a slow but horrifying death. Despite being someone who was at the very top of world football not very long ago, earning thousands of euros per week, Adriano now finds himself living in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Rio De Janeiro, surrounded by gang members while failing to maintain his once incredible physique. What happened to the man who was widely considered as the second coming of Ronaldo Nazario de Lima and the future face, the best player of Brazil? Adriano began his career at Brazil club Flamengo, and just like many other famous and incredibly successful footballers, he wasn't born into a life of luxury. During an interview with the Players Tribune, Adriano recalled that when he was 7 years old, several of his family members pooled their money together so he could play at Flamengo's academy. He also recalled how his grandmother would be the one who took him to the academy every single day, along with the great moments they shared together, which hilariously involved her not being able to pronounce his name properly, as she would often refer to him as Adriano instead of Adriano. With the first few things I've said here, it is evident that Adriano, just like most people, had an unbreakable bond with a lot of his family members. It is important to take note of this because this would be the major reason for his downfall. The Emperor that we all know him as today might not have even existed at all. During his time at Flamengo's academy, Adriano, playing as a left back at the time, almost got released. They would point at you and say, "You go over there. Left row, you're released. Right row, you stay." They pointed at me, "Adriano, go there. Left row, goodbye." Then, by the grace of God, as I was walking, one of the coaches yelled, "Hey, no, not Adriano, he stays for now." And what a great decision that turned out to be, because when he finally got his chance to feature in the first team, now playing as a striker, Adriano was unstoppable, so much so that his performance caught the eye of Italian giants Inter Milan, who would bring him to Europe in 2001 with the hopes of making a world superstar out of him. After barely being able to feature, he would be loaned out to Fiorentina and then sold in a co-ownership deal to Parma. He became an absolute beast in Parma, where he went on to score 8 goals in 9 appearances in the first half of the 2003-04 season before Inter decided to explore the option of bringing him back in January. He soon continued his fine form for Inter, and this led to a call-up to the Brazil national team squad for the 2004 Copa America tournament. He went on to score 7 goals during the tournament, which included a 93rd minute equalizer against Argentina in the final, which took the game to extra time and then penalties. He dispatched his own penalty during the shootout, which Brazil eventually went on to win. This at the time was the biggest moment in Adriano's career. However, this happiness didn't last long. 9 days later, Adriano, 22 years old at the time, was met with a deeply tragic news that his father had passed away due to a heart attack. This news devastated Adriano, and he was never the same ever since. After that day, my love for football was never the same. He loved the game, so I loved the game. It was that simple. It was my destiny. When I played football, I played for my family. When I scored for my family. So when my father died, football was never the same. Adriano had a father who looked after him a lot and kept him in line, but then something unimaginable happened. He got a call from Brazil and was told that his father had died. I saw him cry. He threw the phone down and started screaming. From that day on, Inter chairman Massimo Moratti and I decided to take him in like a brother and protect him. Adriano was in a dark place. He got depressed, and so he turned to alcohol. At that time, I only felt happy when I drank. Adriano said in a 2017 interview, "I could only sleep if I drank. My coach, Roberto Mancini, and my teammates noticed that I was hungover when I arrived for training, and I feared arriving too late, so I didn't sleep and went to training still drunk. I slept in the medical department, and Inter had to tell journalists that I had muscular pain." Amidst all of the chaos in his personal life, Adriano continued to terrorize defenders all over the Serie A with his brute strength, frightening pace, and his devastating shot power. While playing under Roberto Mancini, he managed 28 goals in the 2004-05 season and 19 the following season when Inter won the Serie A. He was playing through the pain like a true warrior, and so it was now time for the 2006 World Cup in Germany. The reigning champions Brazil were favourites going into the tournament due to talents such as Ronaldinho and Kaká, who were both in their primes at the time, and let's not forget Ronaldo. The world expected Adriano to shine, but unfortunately he failed to light up the tournament as everyone expected. He was only able to score against Australia and Ghana and was absolutely non-existent during their quarter-final defeats to Zinedine Zidane's France. He quickly became a shadow of his former self. He only managed 6 goals in the 2006-07 season and had a slow start to the 2007-08 season, as it became abundantly clear that things were definitely not looking good. In 2008, Jose Mourinho arrived at Inter and then began the rocky relationship between the two. In 2008 was the time of Mourinho at Inter and everything was just too much. The press were following me everywhere and everything with Mourinho was in hell. Dude, you're going to me, aren't you, boy? I said, oh Lord, get me out of here. I just couldn't cope. I got called for the national team and before I left, Mourinho said, you're not coming back, are you? I said, you already know it. One-way ticket, brother. As Adriano's struggles continued, Moratti sent him on leave to Brazil so he could maybe clear his head. During that time, he decided to train with Sao Paulo till he eventually joined them on loan for the rest of the season. His time at Sao Paulo didn't come without its own controversies though. He got sent off for headbutting the fullback Domingo, then fined by his club for coming late to training and also getting into a heated exchange with a photographer. It was obvious that things were not looking good and it also didn't help that around this time he was battling with weight issues which were as a result of his unhealthy lifestyle. After returning to Italy where things weren't still working out, Inter and Adriano decided to part ways, leading to a sensational return to his boyhood club Flamengo in 2009. Adriano soon quickly rediscovered his form as he went on to net 19 goals which led to the club winning its first national title in 17 years. The Emperor was back and was set to take over. Soon after, Roma took notice and decided to bring him back to Italy, but this move, which only lasted 7 months, failed horribly. He then went back to Brazil to play for Corinthians, but unfortunately during this time, he sustained an Achilles tendon injury and this injury will completely destroy his career at just 29 years of age. When I popped my Achilles in 2011, man, I knew that's when it was over for me physically. You can get surgery and rehabilitated and try to carry on, but you'll never be the same. My explosiveness was gone, my balance was gone, I still walked with a limp, I still have a hole in my ankle. It was the same thing when my father died except the scar was inside me. Man, what happened to Adriano? Brother, it's simple. I have a hole in my ankle and one in my soul. He made some more moves here and there, including one to the US, and so by 2016, Adriano officially retired at 34 years of age. The summer of 2016 saw the rise in several articles and news reports documenting the shocking new life that Adriano had now adopted. Despite being a millionaire footballer, he chose to live life in one of the most dangerous neighborhoods in Rio de Janeiro. The favela in which Adriano resided was home to one of the most notorious gang groups in the city, but luckily for Adriano, due to his friendship with some of them right from his childhood, before he went on to chase football and them unfortunately turned into a life of crime, they instead protected him and his family while he allegedly gave them gifts such as AK-47, motorbikes and so on. In 2020, a rumor began spreading that Adriano was no more, to which the striker then posted a picture to his Instagram proving to his fans that he was indeed alive. You see, there was no surprise that people easily believed this due to the nature of the life he was now living in. A life in which he was constantly caught with alcohol, although he vehemently denies ever doing drugs, a girl getting allegedly shot in his car while they were clubbing, getting drunk on a motorbike, drink driving, and getting involved in drug trafficking scandals due to a motorcycle he bought which was then registered under the name of the trafficker's mother. Adriano finally decided to explain his own side of all of this chaos, and while speaking to the Players Tribune, he said, "They said that I disappeared. Adriano walked away from millions. Adriano was on drugs. Adriano disappeared into the favelas. You know how many times I've seen those headlines? Well, here I am, smiling in front of you. Do you want to hear the truth straight from me? No bullshit. Well, pull up a chair then, brother, because Adriano has a story for you." The press were saying that I had disappeared. They were saying that I had gone back to the favelas and was on drugs and all kinds of crazy stories. They were publishing photos of me and saying that I was surrounded by all of these gangsters and that my story was a tragedy. But I have to laugh because they don't know what they are doing when they talk like that. They don't understand how much they are showing their... I went back to my people, my friends, my community. I didn't want to live up in the castle on the hill, away from everyone. I went back to the people who knew me back when I was Adriano, eating the popcorn on the bus. Adriano was the boy from the favela. Adriano was the boy on the bus with his nan. Adriano was the boy who Flamengo were going to release. Adriano was the boy who fought. Adriano was the last motherfucker standing. I never stopped being that person. The money, the fame, the recognition, it does not change how you were born, you understand? I did not win a World Cup, no. I did not win a Libertadores, no. But you know what? I won just about everything else. I had a hell of a life, brother. I was proud to be the emperor, but without Adriano, the emperor is useless. Adriano does not wear a crown. Adriano is the boy from the slums who was touched by God. You understand now? You see? Adriano did not disappear into the favelas. He just went home.